This is Talk Business and Politics with Roby Brock.
I'm Roby Brock. As always, we appreciate you tuning in. Thank you for joining us. It was day 12 of the 94th Arkansas General Assembly, and there was quite a bit of action happening in and around the state capitol today. Governor Sarah Sanders held her first cabinet meeting. She also announced a new initiative involving her husband, Brian Sanders. It deals with outdoor recreation. The Arkansas State Senate passed a drag queen prohibition bill along party lines. And in the House, there was a bill dealing with gun licensing and mental health. State Representative DeAnn Vaught was the sponsor of that bill, and she will join us for this and more on today's program. Stick around and we'll talk more politics on today's Talk Business and Politics Daily. Talk Business and Politics Daily is brought to you by Wright Lindsay Jennings Law Firm, Impact Management Group, and these sponsors.
We proudly deliver reliable, affordable, responsible power across Arkansas. But demand for electricity is strained by the elimination of sources we need for always-on reliability. And adding intermittents like wind and solar cannot replace workhorses like coal and natural gas that we all count on. Power must be balanced for your needs and our mission. Reliable, affordable, responsible. We're the Electric Cooperatives of Arkansas.
Connection. It's the heart of what we do. It's why we work to better the communities where we live and work. It's why we're expanding to get people connected and create digital equity programs that support affordable internet and digital literacy. We're leaders for positive change. From the way we empower our people, clients, and communities to the way we care for our planet. We live our values every day. We're Cox Communications, and we're pleased to connect with you.
Together we can create an Arkansas that places children and families at the very top of the agenda.
We can create the type of Arkansas that we have always imagined.
Arkansas Advocates as an organization is the glue that can put all those families' voices together.
Welcome back to the program. Joining me now, Representative DeAnn Vaught. She is a Republican from Horatio, also known as the Pride of Horatio. So she's on the House Education Committee, she's on the Agriculture Committee, and she chairs the all-powerful House Rules Committee. Representative Vaught, thank you for being with us.
Thank you for having me.
You don't get an introduction like that every single day, do you?
This is true. This is true.
Well, thank you for being here. First of all, congratulations. You passed a bill on the floor of the House today that amends the concealed carry permit law, particularly
Yes,
for people who have voluntarily submitted themselves for mental health treatment. Tell me a little bit about what's at work with that bill. It got an overwhelming passage vote, but tell me what was behind the impetus for it.
So there's such a stigma already around going and getting help for if you're in a mental health crisis. And so I had a lady in my district who actually reached out to me. She had been a concealed carrier for years, but she actually was having a crisis and checked herself in for some help. And when she got out, she didn't realize she was going to lose her concealed carry license for her life. Like there's no way for her to ever get it back. So what we did today was we mirrored what they do for veterans. And we made it where you can just do that for every citizen in Arkansas that does that can actually get their gun rights back.
All right.
Which is important.
No, I agree. I think it's important to note too that what you did was also you did something on behalf of a constituent. Sometimes I think we see bills come up in this particular legislature where they just seem to think something's a good idea, or maybe they've seen something nationally or in another state, but it's when you're addressing real constituents' problems that I think you really see the heart of a public servant there.
That's my favorite bills. I've actually got several this session that was brought to me by constituents, and I'm excited to run each one of them for them.
I'm going to ask you about two more bills that you are the main sponsor on. Just because they're going to sound a little mundane, but I think that they've got bigger ramifications than people imagine. One is to dealing with hunting and fishing licenses to allow a minor to have one through pay the resident fee. So when they're visiting a parent or legal guardian, I want you to explain that one. And the other one amends the dates for the beginning and end of the school year, which sounds so simple, but I bet it's the most complicated bill you've dealt with so far.
So I'm going to start with what I call the calendar bill. So we passed last session to move the dates around. And when we did it, I don't think anybody realized how big the ramifications were going to be. So what we had was schools were getting out at Christmas and they had not even taken semester exams. And then they weren't finishing school until in June. And what kid in the state of Arkansas wants to go to school well into June? So to me, it just made common sense for us to revert it back to how it used to be. It doesn't touch a 4-day week, and it doesn't touch if they have an alternative calendar. Say they go to school year round, it doesn't touch any of that. But it allows the schools go back to business as it used to be, which means that they can get their semester exams done before Christmas, and they can get out at the end of May.
Yeah. And your other bill on the hunting and fishing licenses?
So that was brought to me by a constituent or several constituents actually. So if you have a divorced set of parents and one lives in Texas and one lives in Arkansas, you had to pay that out of state fee. Even though your dad or your mom might live here in Arkansas, you reside with the other parent in the other state. To me, it just makes sense. We want more kids to be involved in hunting and fishing in the state of Arkansas, enjoy the beautiful nature that we have here. So I wrote a bill that says, if your parent lives in this state, then you should be able to do the residency hunting and fishing license. I'm pretty excited about that because that's another one that was brought to me by a constituent.
Yeah. All right. You got a couple of bills that you're the main sponsor on, dealing with tax credits for baby supplies and an income tax exemption for teachers. We don't have to dive deeply into those. I mean, they're kind of self-explanatory, but my bigger question to you is, should we wait on tax policy until we really know what we're spending? Because I'm seeing a pretty big spending tab getting run up between education, healthcare, and prisons that I'm not sure where the balanced budget sits at this point.
Right. Whenever I filed it, I was told that this would be something that could be done maybe at the end of the session when we knew all about the budget, things like you're talking about, things that are important to Arkansans also. But I wanted to go ahead and file it so I could see where I might need to fix it. Mm-hmm. Maybe I have some language that I need to add or some language that I need to take out. That bill was also brought to me by a constituent. He was a former state police officer in my district, and he brought me that bill on the tax credit for teachers. So that's another one that comes from good old District 87. Right. The diaper baby formula one, we have a lot of foster parents who could actually use that credit to help buy other products that they might need within their homes. It was brought to my attention today, though, there is something I've got to change in that, because right now it's kind of open-ended and somebody could actually purchase those products and then sell them and then still get the tax credit. So they gave me the language to kind of tighten that up. That one still needs a little bit of work, but I'm excited for the session and to see where those two might land.
All right. Just overall, how are you feeling about the session, and where's the attitude of everybody on education and criminal justice? Do you feel like everybody's just going to fall in lockstep with whatever these big omnibus bills come out? Do you think there's enough input going into them for that to happen? Or do you feel like once they get presented, which will be a couple of weeks, there'll be some changes made?
So I'm hopeful that once we see it, if there's changes that need to be made, that we'll be able to put that input in and get changes made. I do know of some people who have given input that seems to be welcomed. I've actually given some input on some things that I would like to see changed for public schools to take some regulations off of them. And they were very open and receptive to what I presented to them. It was myself and some more supers that presented it to people in the governor's staff. So I'm hopeful that there'll be an open ear to some things that would help public schools and your private schools at the same time.
All right, she's represented.
As far as lock and step.
Yep, go ahead.
As far as lock and step, you would know as well as I do, there's always some of us who don't always follow the lock and step rules.
Yeah, but I'm not going to tell everybody which side of the fence you're on that one. I'm going to let them figure that out. So, all right.
I like it. I like it.
Representative DeAnn Vaught, thank you for your time. We appreciate you.
Thank you for having me.
All right, we're back with more right after this. Talk Business and Politics Daily is brought to you by Wright Lindsay Jennings Law Firm, Capital Advisors Group, and these sponsors.
One of the things that I really liked about UAMS College of Health Professions is that they set me up for success. I chose UAMS because I felt like it was a great place to work. My grandmother was diagnosed at UAMS for multiple myeloma, and I felt like it would be a great way to pay back the place that helped my grandmother so much. And that's why I went in the healthcare field in the first place, is to help someone just like they've helped my grandmother.
For your education and healthcare needs, choose UAMS.
This is what we work for. The moments you live for. The joy. The heart. The wonder. At Entergy, we're dedicated to powering each moment. Today and for future generations. So we're leading the way with a cleaner, more reliable power grid to power every day. Because these moments matter. We power life. Entergy.
As we mentioned, there were several news headlines out of the Capitol today, including Governor Sarah Sanders holding her first cabinet meeting. She also announced a new outdoor recreation initiative that will be led by her husband, Brian Sanders. Sanders signed an executive order Tuesday establishing the Natural State Initiative and the Natural State Initiative Advisory Council. She said that her husband, Brian, will lead the effort in a volunteer capacity. The order says the council will advise the governor about promoting outdoor recreation and the outdoor economy. And the Arkansas Senate voted 29-6 along party lines to approve SB 43, which is a bill intended to regulate drag queen performances. The bill will be sent to the House for approval before it heads to Governor Sarah Sanders. SB 43 would classify drag performances as adult-oriented business and will add additional location restrictions for performances. And you can read more on those stories at our website at talkbusiness.net. Tune in tomorrow for another edition of Talk Business and Politics Daily. I'm Roby Brock. We'll see you then.